Do you ever feel overwhelmed by the ever-changing world of technology? Tech It Out can help make some sense of it all. Breaking down geek speak into street speak, technology columnist, author, and TV personality Mark Saltzman covers consumer technology each week for every listener. Mark tackles the latest news, reviews, and how-tos to help you understand what's hot, what's not, and why.
Hey everyone, welcome to Tech It Out, episode 259. Hope you're doing great this third week of August. Wow. Time has just flown by this summer for me. I always get a little sad, around this time of year as the summer is coming to an end, sundown starts earlier. I know when I was a kid, I would also be bummed out around this time of year because school was resuming, right? And speaking of school, actually, we will talk back to school tech today with Carley Knobloch, a tech expert, and I'll share some ideas as well. But first, we'll kick off Tech It Out with an interview about Super Cruise technology from General Motors that drives your car for you, or your truck, or your SUV, and what's new from them. Also, Intel will join us this hour to talk vPro PCs for businesses and what they bring to the table. And specifically, we'll chat vPro Essentials. It's for smaller companies. And speaking of computers, this show is powered by ASUS for those in search of incredible. I'll tell you more about ASUS shortly, but let's officially kick off a brand new Tech It Out with our first interview. Now, this is super cool news, and so I'm really looking forward to this next interview. In case you didn't know, General Motors announced that it's to double the Super Cruise road network, adding hundreds of thousands of additional miles of roads in the US and in Canada, all to be explored hands-free. And as a Cadillac owner, I've been using Super Cruise for a while now and excited about this new announcement. So joining us on the line to share details is Jeff Miller. He's Assistant Chief Engineer for Super Cruise at GM. Hi, Jeff. Thanks for your time today.
Hey, Mark. Glad to be with you.
Great. Now, before we talk about the new news tied to Super Cruise, let's first bring everyone up to speed. Maybe a Super Cruise 101, if you will.
Sure. So Super Cruise launched first on the Cadillac CT6 back in 2017 on the model year 18 CT6. Mm-hmm. It's the industry's first true hands-free driver assistance technology that enables drivers to travel hands-free on compatible roads. Those compatible roads are currently over 200,000 miles of divided highways in the US and Canada. As you mentioned, we're going to be expanding it here very shortly. So GM's Super Cruise hands-free driver assistance technology is a very significant step in GM's journey to enable our goal of zero emissions, zero crashes, and zero congestion. The system uses two advanced technology systems, the first being a driver attention system and the second being precision LiDAR map data. And this is what allows our customers to drive truly hands-free.
All right. So just to be clear, the vehicle doesn't just accelerate and decelerate based on the traffic around you and curve along with the road to keep you in your lane, but it'll also change lanes for you, right? And I think there's two ways that the car can handle this.
So when Super Cruise is engaged, the vehicle's precision LiDAR map data, real-time cameras, the radars, the GPS, all of those things in unison keep the vehicle traveling along the lane path for a true hands-free driving experience. So these systems work together through what we call sensor fusion. And really what it's doing is it's fusing all of these inputs to create a sensory view or sensory field or a picture around the vehicle that assists the system in keeping it centered in the lane while also elevating the driver's comfort and convenience. So from a longitudinal perspective, Super Cruise accelerates or brakes the vehicle to maintain a selected following gap to the vehicle ahead of you. And then from a lateral perspective, it steers to maintain lane position, and on selected models, when offered, it can perform both driver and system-initiated lane changes to pass slower traffic and to move from a lane that may be ending. All of this is done while monitoring the driver's head position and our eye gaze on certain models in relation to the road to help ensure that the driver is still paying attention and engaged.
Yeah, I'm going to ask you more about that in a moment. But again, just to be clear, depending on which vehicle you own under the GM banner, whether it's Cadillac, GMC, Buick, or Chevrolet, the idea is that when you want to change lanes, you can either turn on your turn signal, left or right, and then when it's safe to do so, the vehicle will make its change, or you can set it based on the model, it'll actually lane change for you automatically, which is, I think, super cool. And again, really showcasing the evolution of this technology. Now, Jeff, as you mentioned, so this is hands-free. So unlike some other semi-autonomous technology from other car makers, you can fully rest your hands, but you were saying that there's also camera on the driver. So you need to be looking ahead. It's not like you're going to start playing around on your phone or close your eyes for a rest on the way home from work. So you need to keep looking ahead for safety reasons.
That's right. Safety is number one at General General Motors, and we wanted to design the system to be as safe as possible. So from the very beginning, we knew Super Cruise needed a driver attention system to make sure that the driver is engaged. In the event the system needs to hand back control, the system determines that the driver is engaged and paying attention. So Super Cruise was the first driver assistance technology to use precision LiDAR map data in addition to real-time cameras, sensors, and GPS, as I previously mentioned. But it's also one of the first to use the driver attention system, which is a small camera located on top of the steering column, and it works with infrared lights to determine where the driver is looking whenever Super Cruise is in operation. If the driver attention system detects that the driver has turned their gaze away from the road ahead for too long, and that time that you can look away is based on vehicle speed and road curvature, the steering wheel light bar, which is integrated into the steering wheel, the top of the steering wheel, it'll prompt the driver to return their attention to the road. And if the system determines continued inattentiveness, it will use visible as well as audible or haptic, the safety alert, to notify the driver to take back control of the wheel.
And I got to tell you, as a father of three, one teen and two 20-year-olds, when I lend them my car, I like to know that they can't be playing around on their phone. They have to pay attention if they want to enable Super Cruise. So that gives me a bit of peace of mind as their dad, that when I hand over the keys, that they're paying attention. So I really like that. We are chatting with Jeff Miller. He's Assistant Chief Engineer for Super Cruise at General Motors. We're now going to chat about what's new. This news that came out a little bit earlier in the month tied to Super Cruise. Please explain.
Yeah, so very exciting news. So we're doubling the Super Cruise road network from currently being slightly over 200,000 miles of Super Cruise capable roads. These are divided highways, typically interstates as we know them today, to expanding to being over 400,000 miles. So not only are we including those divided interstates or highways, but we're also including non-divided highways. So Super Cruise currently works on those map divided highways, and we're expanding to include additional state and federal routes. Many of these are non-divided. So I guess a few notable routes with large sections of these roads coming online with this expansion would include the Mother Road, so US Route 66, Pacific Coast Highway, the Overseas Highway, and a big one in Canada, Trans-Canada Highway. So we're really excited here at General Motors and the Super Cruise team to be able to offer this to our customers. It really is going to enable them to utilize Super Cruise on many more roads, and to offer Super Cruise to customers that frequently travel these roads and haven't considered Super Cruise in the past.
All right. Now, is there a timeline? Do you know when this will be coming down the road? Pardon the pun.
Yep. So this expansion, it will be available coming later this year. So for new vehicles in the GM portfolio built on the VIP electrical architecture, that's the Vehicle Intelligence Platform architecture, the expansion will be available later this year and will be delivered at no additional charge over the air. And those over-the-air updates will be starting at the tail end of this year on Super Cruise equipped models.
Okay, great. So that kind of answers my next question. I was going to ask you, which model vehicles will these extended roadways work with? And how would our listeners know if they do own a Super Cruise enabled vehicle, as I do? How would they know which additional freeways and highways would support it?
Yep. So the number of roads that you're going to be able to Super Cruise on really depends on the electrical architecture. We have the Global A electrical architecture, and we have the VIP electrical architecture. So the vehicles built on the latest and greatest VIP electrical architecture will start receiving this update over the air by the end of this year. The full expansion will be available on the Cadillac Escalade, CT4, CT5, the Hummer SUT, Sierra, Silverado, and then coming soon, it'll be available on the Tahoe, Suburban, Yukon, and Lyriq when they launch in the near future.
Yeah.
So vehicles that are built on our previous electrical architecture, the Global A electrical architecture, will still receive an update, but it will be a smaller portion of the expansion. We're thinking right around 20,000 additional miles of roads. So this would include the Cadillac CT6, the Bolt EUV, and the Cadillac XT6. So our customers, they'll be notified when this enhancement is going to be made available to their specific vehicle. That'll be done through a variety of methods, which could include email or direct mail.
Okay, yeah, good to know. I'm on the list to get a Cadillac Lyriq, by the way. So good to know that that will be supported. And as we wrap up, Jeff, does GM, I guess overall, does the company envision a fully autonomous future? I know that Mary Barra has doubled down on electrification, but what about automation? And if so, what is the roadmap for that?
Yep. So GM, we aim to deliver the company's first personal autonomous vehicles as soon as the middle of this decade. We believe at GM that delivering advanced driver assistance technologies at scale with Super Cruise and soon to be Ultra Cruise, that combination of Ultra Cruise for premium offerings and Super Cruise for others will expand the driver assistance technologies across GM's portfolio, making advanced driver assistance systems available really to a lot more drivers than today and ever before. So meanwhile, General Motors and Cruise, they are pursuing what we believe is the most comprehensive path to autonomous mobility in the industry. So definitely more to come.
You know, it sounds like science fiction, but one day we will hop in our vehicle and we'll just use our voice to say where we want to go. Like we'll give the address to a restaurant, for example, and it'll fully drive you there, which is just mind blowing. Can't wait for that. In the meantime, however, where can our listeners learn more about Super Cruise and this new announcement?
Yeah, there's a couple different avenues. So you can visit the brand sites like CadillacSuperCruise.com. There's also a Chevrolet or GMC Hummer website that will show you compatible roads for Super Cruise and details on Super Cruise availability. And you can also visit your local dealership, which is another avenue to learn more.
Okay, sounds great. Jeff Miller, great to talk to you. Thank you so much for carving out some time to share the news. Really exciting. Thanks again.
Thanks. It was a pleasure.
This show, Tech It Out, is powered by ASUS for those in search of incredible. ASUS, which is spelled ASUS, creates technology for today and tomorrow's smart life. And that includes its line of award-winning laptops, which we're going to hear about next week when I have a guest on the show from ASUS to talk back to school PCs. ASUS.com/US/radio has more. When we return on Tech It Out, we are going to chat with Intel about vPro Essentials. Stick with us. We'll be right back.
Listen to Tech It Out whenever you want. Find the Tech It Out podcast at iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts.
Welcome back, everyone. You're listening to Tech It Out. If you're a regular listener to this show, and I sure hope you are, over the past while, we've been learning all about Intel vPro, the platform for businesses. These are Intel-powered PCs certified to meet certain stringent criteria tied to performance and security, manageability, and stability. And today's chat specifically is tied to Intel vPro Essentials. To tell us all about it, we're joined by Rajita Kaundin. She's Senior Program Manager for Business Client Platforms at Intel. Hi, Rajita. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, Mark. Thank you for inviting me. Good to be here.
Yeah, great. So before we talk about Intel vPro Essentials, please give us a high-level overview of Intel vPro.
Yeah, of course. So as you rightly pointed out, the Intel vPro platform is our built for business PC platform. And it's a platform in the sense that it is much more than the CPU or the processor. What Intel vPro provides is an integrated, validated solution that brings together the hardware-based components and technologies, including the CPU and the processor, to power modern business class laptops and desktops, the kind of PC that you would expect to use in a business environment.
For sure.
And so in that sense, it meets the needs of both end users using these devices as well as the IT teams that are managing them.
All right. So it meets the criteria for the employees as well as those who are managing this department and IT department and for the business themselves. So in plain English then, Rajita, could you talk us through some of the requirements that you've hinted at? I mean, I'm assuming it's things like fast performance and long battery life for the laptops, strong security, things like that.
Things like that, correct. And really applicable more from the standpoint of business class performance. So for end users like you and me who are using a PC at work for work, vPro delivers improved productivity because it features our highest performing CPUs that are optimized for business applications.
Got it.
Right. It also provides fast, reliable connectivity because it comes with integrated Wi-Fi 6E. And last but not least, industry-leading hardware-based security, which is more comprehensive than traditional software-based security alone.
Yeah.
These are things that are especially relevant, right, in today's remote and hybrid work environments where we are more vulnerable to cyber threats, where we are increasingly collaborating on Zoom as we are here, or on Teams, Slack, or any number of cloud applications. So vPro delivers that business class performance and advanced security to serve those use cases.
Thanks for that. I was going to agree that, yeah, it's more important than ever before for a few reasons, because of increased cyber threats, as well as this new hybrid work environment where people may be in and out of the the office or partially at home or all at home. So yeah, very important. So I know a lot of our listeners may be familiar with Intel Evo, that little sticker or badge that's on some laptops that certify that it's got, instant wake times and fast performance and strong Wi-Fi. So it doesn't matter who makes the computer, like Dell or HP or ASUS or Lenovo, LG, it all has to meet a certain requirement. So is Intel vPro the same idea, that it's sort of vetted by Intel and it's sort of the best of the best, but for business?
That's exactly right. It is built to a spec defined by Intel and our PC manufacturer partners like Dell, HP, Lenovo, then conform to those specs. I should point out here that for those that are familiar with Evo, you also have Intel Evo vPro-based devices. And that's a bit of a mouthful. But what that is it combines the business class features of the Intel vPro platform with the premium mobility and user experience of Intel Evo. So you get a best of both worlds mobile PC for professionals.
Okay, great. Thanks. So you gave us a good sort of Intel vPro 101, if you will. So now let's dive a bit deeper into Intel vPro Essentials. What is it exactly, Rajita, and what size businesses would this be for?
So before I get into vPro Essentials, let me also add there's one critical, but very important aspect of vPro for IT administrators, and we'll touch upon this again as we talk about vPro Essentials, and that is for IT teams, vPro provides features to standardize and centralize remote management of employee devices wherever they be, even when they're non-responsive or won't run or won't boot. And that, as you can appreciate, gives IT teams the opportunity to be more agile, more efficient while lowering employee downtime. So that's an important aspect.
Yeah, we've learned a lot about the remote management features over the past couple of weeks. Yeah, super important.
Yeah, to your question about vPro Essentials, what it is, what size business it is for. So vPro Essentials is our targeted, purpose-built small business offering, the built for small business platform, if you will. Ideal for small businesses everywhere. And we define that segment as less than 100 employees, businesses that may have a lean IT department or no IT at all. And we can get into features in more detail, but in summary, it's business class performance with premium connectivity. So employees are productive no matter where they work, industry-leading hardware-based security to protect small business users and their data. And for growing small businesses, foundational tools for essential PC management.
All right, you've made that super clear. So opposed to Intel vPro Enterprise, which obviously suggests larger companies, this is for smaller ones, under 100 employees or so, with a lean or no IT department. That's great. And then what verticals or industries is Intel targeting here? Is it like healthcare? Is it fintech? Is it education?
So Essentials, vPro Essentials, I should say, serves a commonality of needs across a variety of small businesses. So we consider vPro Essentials-based PCs to be more of a mainstream device. That being said, our vPro family of products, starting with vPro Essentials, are especially applicable for businesses in data-sensitive industries or industries that are subject to compliance rules. I think finance, healthcare, some professional services, as well as any vertical really that is today seeing rapid digitization, and retail comes to mind there.
A few more minutes with Rajita from Intel when we return on Tech It Out. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Want to follow Mark? Google him. Mark with a C and Saltzman with a Z. Breaking down geek speak into street speak. This is Tech It Out. Tech It Out with technology columnist, author, and TV personality Mark Saltzman.
You are listening to Tech It Out. We're chatting with Rajita Kaundin. She is Senior Program Manager for Business Client Platforms at Intel, based in beautiful Oregon. So nice to chat with you, Rajita.
Thank you, Mark.
All right, Rajita, you mentioned that you would list some of the features that businesses can expect from Intel vPro Essentials. So why don't we cover that?
Yeah, let's start with security. Because all businesses are subject to cyber attacks, data thefts, data losses to an extent. But lately, I think we can all agree, small businesses have been just as vulnerable, if not more, than large companies. And the effects of an attack are more crippling for them. And security software alone does not cut it. Your traditional antivirus software approach isn't adequate. And here's why. More and more, the sophisticated data breaches and cyber attacks are evolving to bypass the conventional security software. And they do this by striking at the BIOS and firmware that is below the operating system.
So even before the operating system loads, the computer could be vulnerable to these attacks.
That's right. And a virus that is nesting in your PC's firmware below the OS that can take control of the whole system without being detected by any of your scanning software, that's like the worst kind of bad news, right?
Yes.
And this is where the hardware-based security capabilities built in with vPro Essentials deliver the highest possible level of security from the moment the PC boots up. So it is more of that modern multi-layer cyber defense that provides three things: below the OS security, so enforcing that secure PC boot up; application and data protection to prevent, other kinds of tampering attacks, memory corruption; and then last but not least, advanced threat detection to detect and respond to advanced threats like ransomware, crypto mining. And this is all built-in security with little or no setup required.
All right, we'll get to a couple of other features of Intel vPro Essentials in a moment. Let's now chat about the remote work features. Why is this important, Regina? And can you give us some, real world examples of it?
Yeah, sure thing. So I'll be the first to admit that sometimes I have to multitask on a call. And I promise I'm not doing it here, but right? And a call that you cannot miss. So you multitask, or rather your PC multitasks.
Right.
In the remote hybrid environments we've been in, and that will continue to be in, we are increasingly collaborating online. So our Intel vPro devices based on the latest 12th gen processors allow you to multitask and collaborate without losing productivity. And as a performance data point, the device is 33% faster while multitasking on a Zoom call with Microsoft Excel and PowerPoint versus any of our previous generation devices. So there's that aspect of faster collaboration performance, especially relevant in today's remote and hybrid environments. The second example is around connectivity. Right? The average user typically has no idea how to fix network issues. Is it the computer? Is it the Wi-Fi module, the operating system? Is it my network provider? So built into every vPro device, including Essentials, is what's called the Intel Connectivity Performance Suite that firstly prioritizes critical traffic for faster and better online experiences. So I can prioritize this audio call over maybe a productivity app like Word. And secondly, it actively tests your network to determine issues and automatically move you to the better connection or access point when you have multiple of those, which in turn results in faster speeds and lower latency and what have you. So that's the continuous optimization of your Wi-Fi performance for faster and better online experiences. Again, very relevant, very applicable in the remote work environment.
Got it. And why Intel vPro Essentials now? I know that you have some research about what businesses are looking for, which perhaps help answer that question.
Yeah, so we saw a market opportunity for a targeted SMB platform, a small business platform, I should clarify. You see, small businesses look for many of the same things as a large or medium-sized company. They want computers that get the job done reliably. They need technology that integrates seamlessly. They want tight security, especially now, like we said, as workforces are hybrid and working remotely. Mm-hmm. They lack the scale of large companies. They do not always have big IT departments. They need to make the most out of lean budgets. They are time constrained. So vPro Essentials was designed to meet the needs of small businesses that have lean or no IT, as we've said before, but who are nonetheless looking for a business class device that gives them better security, better connectivity, performance that is optimized for the business workloads that they need to support. So we've made it easier with vPro Essentials for them to buy up to a built-for-business PC. We're giving them greater choice to invest in technology that is truly built to address their needs.
Okay, great. We talked about Intel vPro Enterprise earlier for larger companies. Is there like a key difference or differences between Intel vPro Essentials and the platform for larger companies?
Great question. Yes, there is. Three main differences that we can talk about here. First, Intel vPro Enterprise, that's for the large organizations, supports more features for managing devices across their entire life cycle, including full remote remediation and device recovery. And that makes sense when you think about the IT scale of large organizations, right? So that's the first. Second, Only vPro Enterprise comes with the promise of zero hardware changes throughout the buying cycle. And this again implies fewer hardware changes, fewer hassles, again relevant when it comes to large enterprise deployment. And finally, you do get some additional performance gains with vPro Enterprise because they feature our top-end CPUs optimized for enterprise workloads. So that's the distinction in summary.
Okay, great. Thank you for that. And if our listeners want to learn more about Intel vPro Essentials, I know a lot of folks who tune in do work in IT. What's the best website to get going?
Yeah, you should expect to see vPro Essentials in many of the channels where we know small businesses transact, so OEM websites like Dell.com. We are expecting more volume pickup in the second half of the year, so it'll be available through our usual reseller networks as well as in select retail outlets in some emerging markets. So they'd visit intel.com/vPro Essentials.
All right, intel.com/vPro Essentials. Rajita, it's been great chatting with you. Thank you so much for carving out some time today. Thanks again.
Thank you so very much. It was good to be here.
Speaking of computers, we cover cybersecurity a lot on Tech It Out and how you can best protect yourself in the digital age, even if you're not super tech savvy. One part of the solution is securely shopping online, of course. And so I'm thrilled about my partnership with Visa on Tech It Out, as they've made significant investments in fraud prevention over the past 5 years. How significant? $9 billion. And that's to support Visa's brand promise to protect the financial information of both individuals and businesses. Zero liability means peace of mind when you shop online using your Visa card. There can be no half measures when it comes to cybersecurity, which is why the company takes an aggressive and multi-layered approach to combating the rising threat of malicious software and other threats by well-funded and global criminal enterprises. Read more about Visa and how securing the world's payments is priority one at visa.com/security. We'll be right back with more Tech It Out with a few back-to-school gadget ideas. Stay with us.
Breaking down geek speak into street speak. Tech It Out, hosted by Mark Saltzman.
Welcome back, everyone. You are listening to Tech It Out on the Radio America Network. As I mentioned off the top of the show, I've been doing some back-to-school interviews on TV stations across the country, having a lot of fun. Last week on this program, I shared some highlights, including an Epson EcoTank printer that doesn't take cartridges. Instead, you get up to 2 years worth of ink out of the box. Then it's in expensive bottles instead of cartridges. And speaking of printers, I chatted about the Fujifilm Instax Mini Link 2. It's a smartphone printer that lets you wirelessly print photos from your phone and create tangible memories on film, not on paper, that can hang in your locker or put on the back of your smartphone case, hang around your dorm room and all that. And I chatted about Wi-Fi with D-Link, some of the new routers, range extenders, and mesh systems that won't break the bank but give you very fast and reliable Wi-Fi, support for more simultaneous devices, greater range in and around your home. But this week I wanted to chat about a few more ideas, and we'll end off in a couple of moments from now with an app that is amazing. I wish I had this as I struggled with math growing up. But first, some tech, some gear. Let's start with a recommended laptop that's both portable and affordable. It's the Surface Laptop Go 2. This is a smart student companion as it is super portable, lightweight and thin. You can throw it in your backpack. Won't even feel like it's there. Yet it features a 12.4-inch touchscreen, a really comfortable typing experience, large trackpad for those mouse movements using your fingertips, an all-day battery, and Windows security. And when paired with Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, you can play more than 100 high-quality games to blow off some steam after a tough test or exam on your laptop or on an Xbox. So really fun stuff there. But that Surface Laptop Go 2 starts at only $599 at Microsoft.com and BestBuy.com, which is great, especially for the kind of quality you'll get out of that. Now, speaking of computers, it's critical to back up your important files and make it easy to transfer files between devices. For as low as $9.99, the SanDisk Dual Drive Go USB Type-C is a small 2-in-1 flash drive for both your USB-C and your USB-A devices, so computers, tablets, and smartphones. The way it works is it's on a little swivel, so on one end is USB-C, that's smaller, connector that works with all Android phones and some iPads and many laptops today. It's compatible with Thunderbolt ports as well, but USB-C on Windows-based PCs and Chromebooks. And there's actually an Android app that automatically backs up your photos, videos, and school documents for you. And then on the other end of that small flash drive is a USB Type A connector, so for older laptops and so on. Super versatile. Again, starting at just $10 for the 32 gigabyte version, and then goes up from there. I love the different colors as well. I picked one up in peach and another one in a kind of minty green. Very cool. Sandisk.com has more. Now, last week I talked about two different kinds of printers, but what about cutting machines? This is awesome and super high tech. Cricut is the name of the company that has these machines that make it super easy and fun to customize school supplies like backpacks and binders, and clothing like t-shirts and baseball caps to make them personalized. The Cricut Maker 3 cuts more than 300 materials like vinyl and leather. Now I'm actually sipping coffee from a mug, and I created the design that is affixed to the outside of this mug. It says back to school, and it's got this really cool design. I use the Cricut Maker 3 to cut that in a matter of seconds. So awesome. That product is $429. And then the Easy Press 2 is a no stress heat press for things like jean jackets, t-shirts, whatever. You create that design and then you put it on your shirt yourself or other apparel. It's so cool that you can make your own clothes in 2022. And that's only $269 from Cricut, which is spelled Cricut. So that's the Cricut Maker 3 and the Easy Press 2. And earlier I teased about this really cool app, so I want to end off on that. It's called PhotoMath, and as the name suggests, it lets you take a picture of your math problem using your smartphone's camera, and it doesn't just give you the answer, but how it got there with step-by-step solutions and explanations for virtually any math problem from grade 5 to grad school. Again, it's called PhotoMath, and it is the most used math learning app in the world with more than 300 million downloads. You can use it on your iPhone or your Android. It's so cool. Photomath.com has more, or just search for it at your favorite app store or Google Play. It is free to use. There are some advanced features that you could pay a little bit of money for, but certainly great for all kinds of math students. Again, that's PhotoMath. Well, there you have it. A look at some more gear and an app for back to school season. And if you want to hear part one of this chat from last weekend, including that wireless router and mesh system, cartridge-free printers, that photo printer, and all that, you could just go to my website, marksaltzman.com. That's MarkSaltzman.com. Hey, if you're on social media, drop by and say hi. Let me know what you're up to, how your late summer is going. If you have any tech questions, I'll spell my name again in a moment. But regardless of the platform you're on, would love to hear from you. Or if you've got ideas for an upcoming Tech It Out, I'm all ears. So I'm on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Pick your poison. And my name is Mark Saltzman. Mark with a C, Saltzman with a Z. And I write a tech tip of the day. I link to videos that I host, articles that I write, radio and podcast shows like this, highlighting the different guests that I've got on. There are giveaways and all that. And going back to that tech tip of the day, I'll share one that someone asked me about recently. It's called Speak Screen. This is a way to have your iPhone or iPad read to you. So if you're walking around town or you want to close your eyes at night and have a book that you've got on your phone or tablet read to you, it's like having a free audiobook. You just enable Speak Screen in the options, and then you swipe 2 fingers down from the top of the screen and the text is read to you. So let me give you an example from a James Patterson book I've got here.
That's such a bad part of what the politicians have let become a deplorable city. Sometimes I think we ought to move out of Washington.
Right? You can adjust the speed and all that and the voice. That's one of the Siri voices that I use. Pretty cool, right? Again, that's called Speak Screen. Those are the kinds of tech tips I give on social media, and I look forward to seeing you online. When we return, more back to school gadget ideas with Carley Knobloch.
Follow Mark Saltzman on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram. Listen to Tech It Out whenever you want.
While the kids may be rolling their eyes, yep, it's back to school time for students, but at the very least, they may score some new clothes and a cool backpack and such. But what about technology? Well, here to help us with gadgets that make the grade is tech lifestyle expert Carley Knobloch, who joins us on this show from time to time. Good to chat with you again, Carley. Is it really another back to school season?
I can't believe it, but it is absolutely another back to school season. And this one's a meaningful one for me, actually, because my youngest is a senior in high school. So,
nice.
Heading off to college next year is kind of crazy. But
congrats.
Yes, I'm always so happy to be on your show. And I partnered with some really great brands that I think will make heading back super easy, eye rolls notwithstanding.
Exactly. All right. Well, with that in mind, let's start off with what I would argue is the most important decision for students, a laptop. What do you recommend?
Yeah, Chromebooks are a really great affordable solution. I have here today the Acer Chromebook Spin 513. It's really ideal for anyone that's on the go. It's got the MediaTek Companion 1380 chip inside, which means it's got amazing battery life and a really lightweight foldable design. That's what makes it so portable and great for people on the go. And it also has Wi-Fi 6. So your streaming, your video chatting, all of that is going to be really fast and reliable. And it's a really powerful machine. So especially great for those high schoolers or even teachers, anyone that needs a lot of processing power, any professional who really wants a powerful laptop in a really slim package.
All right. So it's one of those 2-in-1s or convertibles. As the name suggests, it's called the Spin 513, right? So that means the screen is on a 360-degree hinge, and you can convert it from a laptop to a tablet and use it in tent mode, which is kind of like an upside down V and all that.
Yeah, I believe so.
And we should mention to our listeners, Carley, that for pricing, the website, if you want to watch while you're listening, is inthenews.tv, and you'll be able to get all the deets there. Now, when it comes to college students this year, anything in particular?
Yeah, kids that are heading off to the dorms, they need a way to stream their content, and the Roku Streaming Stick 4K is very powerful and also very cute and portable, which is great in those small spaces. The 4K picture makes movies and TV and games look really amazing. And it even has a private listening feature. This is so smart, actually. If you use their mobile app, it's perfect for if one roommate wants to do some late night binge watching and the other roommate wants to be studying or sleeping, so you can sort of listen privately to your favorite shows. And then also Roku just always has so many free live and premium TV options. So they're always going to have a ton of content to choose from. And just the picture quality with the 4K is just fantastic.
Yeah, awesome. Roku has become so popular over the last couple of years because there's a lot of bang for your buck. Sure, you can log into your favorite streaming services like Netflix and Disney Plus and Apple TV and all that, but I love all that free content you get as well, including the Roku channel, which is awesome. Mm-hmm. And Carley, we are chatting with Knobloch, tech lifestyle expert, with some back to school recommendations. I understand that you've got something that can help parents with those back to school purchases.
Yes, absolutely. Whether it's tech or clothes or school supplies, it can all really add up. So if you use something like Pay Later with PayPal, it lets you pay over time in a way that works best for you and your budget. So if you spend $1,300 to $1,500, you can use Pay in 4 to break the cost into 4 interest-free payments, with the first one due when you buy. And then for larger purchases, you can use Pay Monthly to make monthly payments over a long period of time. And really, either way, you've got tons of flexibility for all your back to school shopping, which makes things, a little bit more of a relief at that time of year.
And with PayPal, just like credit cards, they've got your back if there's ever a dispute with something you're buying online. There's buyer protection there. So it's a secure way to go. And it sounds like an affordable way as well if you opt for one of those extended payment solutions, which is great. So as I mentioned, Carley, the best website to see these products, because I know that you are doing TV interviews and showing them visually, as well as to get pricing and all that, it's inthenews.tv.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you can see everything I covered and see exactly what you're looking at.
Inthenews.tv. And congrats on your youngest being a senior. Very exciting. My youngest is off to college this year, so we're going to be empty nesters with 3 away at university. So a little strange for us too, but exciting nonetheless.
Awesome. Mark, it was so great to chat with you.
And Tech It Out listeners, it was so great to chat with you this hour as well. I hope you enjoyed the program. We kicked things off with General Motors about Super Cruise. What's new with that hands-free semi-autonomous driving technology that is baked into many vehicles today. And we learned about the expansion of the roadways across the US and in Canada. Then we pivoted and chatted with Intel about vPro Essentials for small and medium businesses and what those computers bring to the table. I shared some back to school gadget ideas. And then we just heard from tech expert Carley Knobloch with a few of her favorites as well. A huge thank you to ASUS, the title sponsor on this program. They're going to be on Tech It Out next week when we talk back to school ideas. So I hope you can tune into that. As I mentioned earlier, I'm on social media. If you have any tech questions or you want to, so it's Mark Saltzman, Mark with a C, Saltzman with a Z. Have a great rest of your day, everyone. And we'll catch up with you next weekend for another fresh episode of Tech It Out. Bye-bye for now.